my sister pointed out, she was like, why does mom have a hairy vagina? And we came back asking her about it. Like, well, mom, we saw all these other ladies' vaginas and none of them were hairy.
And now she's got to break down pornography for you.
Like, we knew what those magazines were. My uncle had stayed in our bedroom and left them under the couch.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
It's the vibrator that has no equal. And now, Motor Bunny offers their thrusting sex machine, the Motor Bunny Buck. Enjoy a fan whore discount at manwhorepod.com/motorbunny or use promo code manwhore at checkout. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
What's up, all you cunt crusaders and vaginal avengers? This is Billy Persida, and you're listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Ooh, this week's guest is definitely a cunt crusader. Zoe Mendelson is on the show. She's a journalist and the author of the new book, Pussypedia, a book all about, I mean, you guessed it, pussy. You know, whether you call it vulva, vagina, slit, snatch, muff, twat, cunt, coochie, or Jesus' hole, this book is all about it. It's got a lot of things you thought you knew and didn't, and it's apparently got a lot of things you didn't even know that you didn't know. And I'm really excited to share my conversation with Zoe in a little bit. But first, Zola. Oh my fucking goodness gracious. Did y'all see Zola? If there was a reason to catch like the Delta variant in a movie theater, Zola's not a bad one to catch it from. You know, like if I got COVID from watching The Green Knight, I'd be pissed. 2 hours of fantasy, barely any words spoken. At the end, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Zola, a goddamn delight. Zola is a movie that's out right now. It was based off of a viral Twitter thread, which I don't even know if that's been done yet. There was a stripper who had this viral Twitter thread many years ago telling a story of some shit that went down. And then this movie is that. It's co-written by Jeremy Harris, who did this amazing Broadway show, Slave Play. This movie was insane because it's a movie about just a stripper who like goes on a trip and kind of gets baited and switched. And then, you know, tomfoolery happens. But it's so fucking absurd what goes down in this movie. And yet, if you know sex workers, 100% believable, this story. The story is both audacious and totally. Lucy Moon texted me. She's like, Zola is so relatable. And it's like, I think your average person would see that movie and think that couldn't possibly happen. And I think Hose saw that movie and was like, yep. It's like either you've been that bitch, you know that bitch, or you've heard of that bitch. You know, it's go see Zola or pay and watch it on a. Oh yeah, I'm recording from the fire escape, everybody, because Billy needed to switch up some environmentals. So now you're getting the backdrop of the lovely J train passing by. But if you have the opportunity, whether it's streaming or in the theaters, check out Zola. Oh my, just so good. It's like, it's tight, it's short, it moves fast, and you're just gonna be like, wow, did that really happen? Yes, it did really happen. And I bet at the end of the movie, the Zola character is like, just another fucking day. In the Discord server, the Champagne Room, we're doing the 100 push-up challenge because Billy needs to start turning his titties into pecs again. You know, these are just starting to get a little too grabbable. I hooked up with a few weeks ago, I hooked up with this a newer lover of mine, and they were like grabbing at my chest and going like, oh my God, I just love your boobs. And I'm like, whoa, Red, can we not call these boobs? Hard red. And they were like, oh yeah, I forgot that gender was a thing. My bad. Because they liked my boobs. I don't like my boobs. So we're doing the 100 push-up challenge, and I invited a bunch of fan whores to do it with me. So you can always pop into the Discord server. Come on by the Champagne Room and join us and post your max out push-up sets over the next several weeks with us. And of course, you can introduce yourself to the Champagne Room at manwhorepod.com/Discord. That's DISCORD. It's a great place to just connect with your fellow fan whores, with like-minded people. Another way to do that is joining our Fan Whore Fantasy Football League. Real quick, we still got some slots open. It's a $30 buy-in, half-point PPR. Shoot me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com if you want to join us. And one last pluggy place you can join us is, of course, Man Whore Con, August 12th to August 15th in upstate New York. A bunch of fabulous fan whores are getting together. Yes, we do still have one room open. Yes, you can still email me to claim it. But mostly, I'm just excited that it's almost here. It's been 2 years since the last Man Whore Con. And, I sent a vibe check email last week, and I was so relieved. So pleased to hear that everybody attending is very comfortable with other people's nudity. Score. Nude sunbathing is a check. And pretty much everyone is not so secretly hoping something kind of groupie sexy happens at some point over the weekend. Every year I always say Man Whore Con, it's not a big orgy weekend, but look, I won't stop people from orgying it up if that's what grown consenting adults choose to do. This was really exciting. Last week, I was interviewed for a BuzzFeed news article by a friend of the pod, past guest, Hallie Lieberman. She wanted to talk about sex parties being back and talking about vaccinated sex parties. I am in this article so much talking about orgies. I'm almost disgusted with myself. I believe at one point I say something along the lines of, that should be the commercial, President Biden. If you want to go to orgies, get vaccinated. The article talked about just group sex returning. Our dear friend Beth, the Queen of Hacienda, she is also prominently in the article. It was nice to see good people in the thing with me. So I'll have a link to that in the show notes if you want to check it out. Group sex is pretty much back until Fauci tells me not to, and Fauci pretty much, look, I'm just to paraphrase the last Dr. Anthony Fauci interview I watched. He basically was saying, you can do sex parties, you just got to know everyone else is vaccinated. Otherwise, you might want to wear a mask. That's why I am flying to the Bay Area tomorrow to attend a good friend's vaccinated birthday gangbang. But something I'm learning in my travel itinerary, I'm 32 goddamn years old. I've got to stop trying to save $30 by adding 13 hours to my travel. I can't. I'm officially done with that. I keep realizing how much of a headache I try to cause myself to save such a minuscule amount of money. Like my trip west had 3 flights. It was going to be 22 hours long, and I was probably saving like maybe $60-$80 from the next available option. So I want to ask you, where in your life are you skimping for really no good reason for such a small amount of money at the cost of your happiness and at the cost of your comfort, at the cost of your sometimes at the cost of your pleasure? I end up spending like an extra, $100 just so I could shorten that travel time, not be so miserable by the time I get to the West Coast. I'm terrified of heights. I don't know if y'all know this about me. Fun facts. And I am out here on the fire escape. I am in a very safe location on the fire escape. It would take a whole lot for me to go over the fall down. I only live on the second floor. I'm terrified to drop down 1 story. But I do want to get the fuck off of here. So I'm going to introduce Zoe Mendelson's on the show this week. She is the author of the book Pussypedia. It is out now. I got a link for you in the show notes. And Zoe was such a cool fucking guest. Oh my God. I'd love to interview her more, but even more than her again, I want to interview her fucking parents. They seem so cool. She was a delight. Anyways, here's my conversation with Zoe Mendelson. Motor Bunny is a longtime friend of the Man Whore podcast. They've been with us for many years at this point. It's really because I do love this goddamn product. Holy shit, it's one of my proudest possessions. The Motor Bunny is so awesome that there's a couple fan whores from the West Coast who are coming to Man Whore Con. They own a Motor Bunny because of yours truly. And they actually requested, hey, any chance you'll bring the Motor Bunny to Man Whore Con, we will bring our attachments. But it's a little bit big to bring on the plane with us. And of course, I'm going to indulge them. Gosh, I can't wait to watch. So are you curious about the Motor Bunny? I think you should be. Head on over to manwhorepod.com/motorbunny for a special discount offer. And if anything, I'm actually now, I want to get my hands on the Motor Bunny Buck because, like, it's a whole other toy. Not only do they have their just incredible straddle style vibrator, the Motor Bunny original, but now they got the Motor Bunny Buck, which is a thruster. It's a fuck machine, people. This is great for if you love cowgirl and wish you had a toy that was thrusting up into you while you were grinding into it as it vibrated like no dick ever has underneath you before. This, is the toy for you. So if you're ready to learn more, if you're ready to purchase your very own Motor Bunny or Motor Bunny Buck, head on over to manwhorepod.com/motorbunny or use promo code manwhore at checkout. You'll get a very special Manwhore podcast discount. Your buddy Billy here gets a little kickback on the back end of things. Support the podcast, treat yourself, and stay slutty. Now let's get to the show.
And that also was partially a result of a lot of the sex education that we got, which was like fear-based, not great. Almost all about how not like to not get STDs and STIs. Like
if you had sex education.
If you had it,
like my high school had zero sex ed. We never had we didn't have a day. We didn't do a class. The most we got was I went to a boarding school, and the guys' dorm once a year had a dorm meeting where Pam Birchie came out and she explained the statutory rape laws of Connecticut. That was it.
Oh my god!
I
remember this lady getting brought in to my high school to give like a presentation at an assembly, and she like called people up and had them like spit in a clear plastic cup and then chew up a Tootsie Roll and then spit in it again. And she was like, "Can we ever get this brown out of this?" No. Like, it was the metaphor for like you will sully yourself permanently if you have sex. It was horrible.
What's crazy is that person, whoever it was, like they at home came up with that idea.
And they were like, this is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
We're gonna scare this. This is brilliant. Why wasn't I taught this as a youth? I could have used this Tootsie Roll metaphor.
Right. I think that my sex ed was better than a lot of people's.
Yeah.
Even though it was like pretty shitty. I think for that time it was like, I mean, at least we learned about like, I don't know what sex is. It wasn't abstinence only, which says a lot,
I feel like this is a question like I could only ask to a guest like you, Zoe Mendelson, co-author of the upcoming book Pussypedia. Where did you learn about your pussy?
Well, my mom was awesome. I mean, she was very open to answering our questions and very honest. I learned about everything really young. When I was 4 or 5, I think I was 5, I was on a bus to camp, like a school bus, and there was a hole in the seat in front of me. And I reached inside the hole and I found a used condom. Oh. And I was like, oh, cool, a balloon. And I put it in my backpack. And I brought it home.
I thought you were going to say you put it in your mouth to blow it up. And I was going to go,
no, thank God, no. I put it in my backpack and I got home and I pulled up a chair to the sink and I was filling it up with water at the sink. And my mom walks in. I was like, oh, Mom, can you tie this for me? And so she freaks out. She's like, what is this?
You went like a balloon.
Where did you get this? She called the camp and she was yelling at the people on the phone. I was so scared. I was like, what happened? She washed my hands with like really hot water, like scrubbed them. And I was like, what is this thing? You have to tell me, explain what just happened. So she explained to me what a condom was, which entailed explaining sex, and that people have sex not just to have babies.
There's like a whole lot to unpack with the existence of a condom. Where do babies come from could be such a tighter conversation. Right. And she's like, I have so many layers to break down with like, why is there a used condom stuffed in this this bus.
Mm-hmm.
We have to really work through this with you. How much time do you got? Cancel your play date. Meanwhile, you're just like, you thought you found free balloons. Like that was
free balloon
to a kid. That's like a lottery win.
And the reason I was filling it up with water is because there was water in it.
Oh,
water. So I was like, oh, it's a water balloon.
Have you ever smelled old cum?
Yes.
Yes? Can we exchange smelling old cum by accident stories then? Why did you smell old cum?
Well, because sometimes if you put a condom in the garbage can and then you go to take the garbage out, you smell it and it's just nasty.
So past guests. So this show used to feature past hookups where we talked about why we didn't work out. So one of those past flames, I forget what her fake name was, but it was the one who went from super slutty to mega Christian for some reason, right? I picked her up when the last time I had seen her. She flew out to New York to spend like a weekend with me like 10 years ago. And I pick her up from LaGuardia and I'm driving back to Jersey, but she gives me roadhead in the car. Yay. When I finish in her mouth and she wanted to spit, she grabbed a water bottle down here, spit into the water bottle gets chucked in the back seat. Forgotten
gross.
about.
Oh no.
This is more gross because of how infrequently I cleaned my car, if anything. But like, I don't know. And I am not exaggerating when I say at least a year later.
No.
I'm in my car. I'm thirsty. I look back at the graveyard of water bottles in the backseat floor, and I just grabbed one that had some water in it, and I open, and just the wave of it smelled like a dead body.
Oh my God, so fucking gross.
You ever see a cartoon where like when they try to visualize odor, they like cartoonize like a bad smell as like wavy,
green.
Like a green something, and it goes into someone's nostrils? That's what it was. This scent went into my body. It did not want to leave.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize why at first until like I had to sit in this car driving. And I was like, fucking Amy. Oh my God, I'm gross for not cleaning this car.
Yes.
But like it was my old cum mixed with water and plastic and aged like a gross wine for a year. People, throw away your cum when it happens.
Yeah. I can say I've never smelled year-old cum, thank God.
I'm good for you, but you almost fucking accidentally drank, or you accidentally almost splattered other kids with who knows how old cum in that condom balloon you found. Did your mom do a good job of the explanation? How old are you vaguely in this?
5.
Oh my gosh, you're that young?
Yeah.
And so you got everything from the existence of sex to the purposes of sex to safer sex to like irresponsible teenage counselors fucking in a school bus because they have nowhere else they can fuck. At 5.
She did not speculate about that for me.
But did you feel like you exited that with like a good understanding? It sounds like mom's pretty sex positive to do that.
She's very sex positive and she was like, yeah, very like forthcoming about that kind of stuff. Like I like, she walked around naked a lot, and I remember like, you know, being like, why does like my vagina look so different from yours? And her being like, well, like it'll grow, and you know, that like it changes and it'll grow hair. And I also remember asking her like, what is that white string hanging out of your vagina? She's like, it's a tampon, like it's in, you know. And I remember like all of those moments. I also remember like one time, I think I was 11 or 12, I found an old Hustler magazine, and my sister and I were looking at it, and we were like, it was like from the 80s or 90s, I don't know, but it was old, and like there was no... If you
describe the style of photography, I bet I could tell you the decade.
Well, no, here's what you could tell by it. There was no pubic hair. So it was post like Bush.
Post 70s.
Yeah. And my sister pointed out, she was like, why does mom have a hairy vagina? And we came back asking her about it. Like, well, mom, we saw all these other ladies' vaginas and none of them were hairy.
And now she's got to break down pornography for you.
No, we knew what porn was. Like, we knew what those magazines were. My uncle had stayed in our bedroom and left them under the couch.
gosh, you were exposed to like
those magazines became like a family heirloom, and he gave them to my older brother, who gave them to my younger brother, who gave them to my youngest brother, and he brought them to camp and got them taken away.
Oh my God. Just passed down from man to man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 2052, and it'll be the same. They don't even know what a magazine is, but they have them.
It's not even like what, like my dad wasn't, when they called him to be like, oh, your son brought like these porn magazines to camp, he wasn't gonna be like, oh, could we have those back? Those are a family heirloom.
They're very important to us. That's wild. That is wild. But it's cool that like mom was so chill about things.
Both my parents are like, and I mean, we have they had an open marriage like in the 90s. Like
way before it was cool.
Yeah, like my mom's been bisexual since like the 80s. Like they're just like super progressive in that way. And yeah,
all the ingredients for the co-author of a book called Pussypedia were there. Is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, like I also asked a lot of questions because I was like very, very, very curious about these things always.
Well, you have very inquisitive eyebrows. They do a lot of work, and they look like they're always up to something. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
Your eyebrows just always look like they're on the hunt for more knowledge.
They do a lot.
Did Dad also walk around naked?
No, Dad did not walk around naked. But I do remember a few times being like, Dad, can I watch you pee? Like, I just like wanted to know how pee came out of a penis.
I want to know how pee came out of a vagina.
Yeah, so you get it. Like, I was just very curious. The first line,
because our pee goes out.
Right.
Like typically it's going outward.
Right.
Y'all, my understanding, unless you really do some work and aiming.
Have you still not seen stuff?
Most of the women I see pee are like sitting or like squatting. So it's typically a downward
you have to
situation.
Sit or squat because it's going to go downward no matter what.
I've never seen like a woman urinate just standing plain still, I should say.
Well, because it would like go
all over the legs and it splatter.
Yeah.
But like just the idea that it seemed more down and then ours were going out. But like because it's not the hole that we think it is for fucking forever.
Right.
It's embarrassing how many adults find that out.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. But I also remember this one time where like my grandma, I think, gave me a sweater for like Hanukkah. I don't know. But I was embarrassed to change in front of her, and both of my parents were like, wait, what, like, why, what happened, like, why did I have this like shame about my body? Like, where had I gotten the idea that I couldn't change in front of my grandma? Like, and I remember them being like, oh no, like, who taught her this,
Your parents sound so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like,
really
I want to
cool.
hang out with, I want to party with your parents.
You
like,
really want to party with my parents.
It sounds like it. How'd you find out about, I mean, even back then, was it more of a swinging situation or open relationship?
No, it was an open relationship.
How'd you find out about that? And when were they open about it? Well,
because my dad was married to my mom and dating my best friend's mom. And like my mom.
And you just knew this?
Yeah. And I mean, it seemed normal to me as a kid because whatever is your thing is normal when you're a kid.
Right.
But then I got older and I was kind of like, wait, like, you guys were married? Like, and what? How did the timeline work out on this? Like, they told me. But yeah. Or like my mom like went to Europe for like a few weeks with like the 20-something-year-old guy that was painting our house that was like ridiculously hot.
The painter?
Yeah, the house painter.
It's like if y'all had a pool, it would have been the pool boy, but here it's the painter.
Yes.
And this is just all out in the open. There's no hiding. They didn't try to hide that stuff from you, but they maybe didn't sit you down and explain it.
Right.
Yeah.
At the time, because I was a little kid.
So then when did you realize, and maybe it would have been for different things, which is like, it's interesting that you had to discover that you were being brought up in what I would call cool, but brought up differently than the other kids. Like,
I know, actually, that took a really long time, and I feel like it's still happening.
Yeah? Yeah. What was like your most recent revelation of like, oh, is that not what everyone did?
It was about something else, but we did not have money we were always very stressed about money, but we had a lot of art, and like we moved a lot, and I remember like wrapping up the art and taking it out and hanging it up was like this very important thing. And like one of the first things they would do is like start deciding where to hang the art. And my mom like also made art and bought art, and like I was in, I don't know whose house, some rich people, and they had like no art. And I was like, oh yeah, like it's not that common for people to be very serious about filling their home with things they think are beautiful. Like, you know, that
like, you know, penises with glitter G's, right? It's like,
yeah. I mean, it's not just about beauty. It's like makes you smile. It's funny. It's like joyful, you know, or yeah, I don't know. I realized that was something really cool about my family, that we didn't have a lot of money, but that they put such value on having art.
To just like have a joyful home environment. Like they could look at any wall and probably smile at what's hanging on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is important, especially if I would imagine if you can't afford certain things that you might attribute to happiness. It's like if I can come home and always smile at fucking Susan Sarandon covered in porn star signatures, then like if I have to be in a very tiny place, like it's going to be me and I'll have my toiletry bags and I'll have Susan, and that's what I need in this world.
Yeah, exactly. Right? That's an amazing photo of her. I love it.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, that's my girl. I'm still holding out hope. I still think there's a chance.
She's amazing.
Did you at all rebel against the very open liberal nature of your parents, or did you always
Yes, I became a Republican.
Stop. Really? I don't know.
No.
People do that.
I also remember like I was probably 4 and I was laying on my back in the living room with my legs open, like kind of rubbing my crotch, and my mom being like, Zoe, that's something you're allowed to do, but you do it in your room alone with the door closed. Like, that's so cool.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be done.
That's a thing you do in private, okay, sweetie? Like, that's it. I was like, now I think about that, I'm like, that was so cool of her.
Your parents sound like the absolute coolest, especially when it comes to the whole, sexuality stuff. So it's like, I guess I have to wonder, like, how did you discover shame? Like, who taught you shame? Because it wasn't them, it sounds like.
Well, what I say in the book is that, like, the patriarchy has a kind of final destination quality to it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't escape it.
It surrounds you. Yeah.
And my mom, like, was super body positive and would say, like, magazine bodies are bullshit. But I had so much shame about my little chubby kid body, so much. Like still, like it's so hard, it's not, your parents can't save you from that.
Yeah, but they can certainly do harm reduction.
Definitely, yeah.
For sure, it's like until society changes, if we can just,
I mean, it would have been much worse if she had been like, honey, go on a diet.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then and then you see the stuff outside of home, and then you go like, oh, well, mom must be right. Everyone else thinks this. And at least if they teach you a better way, there's a small chance that there are going to be issues where you go, I think they're all wrong. Because mom, dad taught me this growing up. Hey, if it works for insurrectionists, I feel like it's got to work for sex positivity at some point, right? It's like so y'all have this book out, Pussypedia. Forgive me, her name's Maria. Your co-author, Maria, she did the illustration, sounds like, and you did a lot of the writing part of it.
I wrote it and she illustrated it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so, like, what was the origin story of that? Was there not enough pussy books out on the shelves for you?
No.
Nothing comprehensive enough?
No. Well, one night I was Googling whether or not all women can squirt. Because I was arguing about it with my ex-boyfriend because he was always trying to make me squirt, and I was like, I just don't. Like, my body just doesn't do that. And he was like, everyone's can. And I was so pissed. Anyway, so I started Googling it, and I would just like, I'm a journalist, so I think about when I'm reading something like, is this good information or not? Like, how can I verify this? How can I fact check this? And everything I was reading was just garbage. So I started reading like medical journal articles, and I was like really struggling to understand it, obviously, because I don't have a science background. So I had to like look up all the words, and then I started learning things that I was like, what? Like, everyone I know needs to know this. Like, what the hell? So I thought, okay, this is fucked up that it's this hard to access this information. Everyone should know this stuff. Like, and I stayed up all night reading and just getting really like indignant. And I called Maria in the morning, like, Maria, I've been up all night reading about vaginas, and I think we should do this thing together.
What was her reaction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I have a whole sketchbook of vulvas. I'm been prepared for this my entire.
Well, I mean, I called her because all of her work was about like the female body and destigmatizing it.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
That's awesome. And what did you find out about squirting, by the way?
Oh, well, you can't answer that question because it's impossible to prove the negative cases. Like, it's very hard to prove that someone can't squirt.
Right.
So it's not really an answerable question.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And on the pee question, I still stand with my opinion, which is like, okay, and if so, who cares? That's
a great opinion, but it's not pee.
It's not, yeah, it's like uranic acid, and it's a point. Correct me because you wrote the book, but I believe it's like such a small percentage is like this acid that like is also in pee.
Exactly.
So it's not pee, but it shares qualities. But again, I don't care. I'm still going to open my mouth.
In the book, I give like the like breakdown of the components of it. The metaphor I use is if squirt juice is pee, then tomato juice is marinara sauce. Squirt is not pee, it's marinara sauce. That's what I'm trying to tell everyone.
Well, then, fantastic.
Hashtag fact checked.
But also, so I assume you're no longer with that boyfriend?
No.
Yeah, I feel like when someone's just like, I need to make your body do the thing
to validate me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when do I try to make a woman squirt? When I can feel that, like, this feels like there might be a squirting capacity in here. But like,
right.
I'm just going to be like, no, your fucking body does this or else. What?
And it was like all of our sex was like trying to get something to happen at the expense of like me having a good time. You know, it wasn't about me being like, this feels good, therefore I'm happy, therefore this sex was successful. Mm. It was like, once you squirt, like then the sex will have been successful. Because
I made you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, a cousin of the like, I need to make you come versus,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
The very related issues. Same person usually doing them.
Yeah.
What was the downfall of that relationship?
Who was the downfall, meaning who?
Oh, I said, what was the downfall of that relationship?
Oh, so many things.
Oh, gosh, I got time if you care to share.
Well, it was like, first of all, more open than I wanted it to be. Like, I did want an open relationship, but I wanted to like know, like, when are you with other people? Let me know. Like, I don't want to be texting you and you're just randomly not answering. And, it's just like we would talk so constantly and then it would just like be dark. And essentially what I think the conclusion I came to at the end is that he didn't care about the sex, that what he wanted was like to do whatever he wanted. Mm-hmm. And so he would lie to me a lot about it, and try to like sneak it. And it was like, that was the thrill for him.
The sneaking around is the thrill. It's like, then get in a monogamous relationship. Cause like that's the sneaking. That's what you do, I guess.
Or just go to therapy because that's abuse.
That therapy is a much better option, but not everyone seems to be getting on that bandwagon just yet. It's interesting the idea of like wanting to do whatever you want in a non-monogamous relationship versus like, I just like to know I have the freedom to pursue things that might make me happy so long as they fall within the boundaries of like an agreement or whatever. But it's not even it's not like I want, it's just like there's a sense of freedom to it. And sometimes even though I'll see something I want and I'm free to do it, I don't do it because it would have these outcomes with this person who
Right.
I give a shit about.
Right.
Do you think that the person was just not going to ever be a fit? Or do you feel like was the relationship the non-monogamy not set up properly, like the parameters?
I think we set it up a lot of times.
Yeah.
He didn't want parameters.
See that's the thing. It's not, so many people think it's a free for all. Whether
Right.
it's like they're trying to do what they did to you, or someone like me dating someone, like, so I'm seeing someone right now who this would be new for her, but something she's kind of always wanted and she wasn't able to in the last relationship, whatever. And one of the first things I wanted to really let her know is like, hey, this is not it doesn't have to be a free for all. It can be, but like there are rules and we would make those together.
Exactly. That's like what I wanted, was just to be like, we are deciding this as a team, like, because we're a team, right? Like that's what a partner should be to me, is like your teammate. Like you're not opponents. Like yeah. When it's good, like I like that. I like thinking about my partners going out and having a nice time with someone else. I don't care what the fuck they do. Like I want my partner to have fun experiences, and I don't feel jealousy. I really don't. So I've literally never felt it. I feel jealousy when another girl is funnier than me. Like when a girl is really funny, actually those are the times I feel jealousy. But I do not feel it about sex in relationships, and like, yeah, so it was dumb.
Had you had non-monogamous relationships before that, and have you since had a successful non-monogamous relationship in your eyes?
Before that, I had been just like, no, I had not had a non-monogamous relationship. I would just like refuse to be in relationships with people that I was de facto in relationships with, and then like still try to see other people, and it was just shitty.
Like the type of thing where like you're basically dating, but no one wants to say this is officially us dating.
I would be like, we're not dating. You're not my boyfriend. And then like, well, what are you doing? Like, tomorrow, like, it's
like we text every day. I see you multiple times a week. We might even be fluid bonded, and you've met a parent, but we're not dating.
Right. Exactly.
We're just doing exactly what dating sounds like to everybody in the world.
Exactly.
What was that about? Like, why was that?
Because I didn't want to be monogamous.
And did you just think that it had to?
And I was just young and horny and excited and had a lot of energy and wanted to, see what was out there and like fuck the world, like.
But having the parents that you had, didn't you know that like I see the reason so many people I feel like associate the two together is because they don't know it's an option. But I feel like you were raised knowing it's an option. Yeah.
But I didn't meet men who were open to that.
Fair.
So then after that, I met my husband pretty soon after that, and we're in a pretty monogamous relationship. But I actually don't mind, and like our thing is like, if a situation arises and I feel comfortable with it, it'll be okay. And there have been things he's felt comfortable with that have been awesome, and he knows it's like that, like flirting is like my favorite activity,
Y'all should see how her face lit up. She's like, it's my fucking favorite.
Yeah. And he knows that it's actually like important to me, and he's not insecure about like, he's not like jealous or insecure about it. He's just not really interested in having an open relationship, which I respect. And actually, like, this has been enough for me. Like when I got into this monogamous relationship with him, I was like head over heels in love, and I would have just done anything he asked, and then like time went by and I was like, okay, I'm like kind of freaked out, like I don't know if I can do indefinite monogamy. Like that's gonna be really hard for me. And
how long into the relationship did that come in?
Oh God. So there was this guy that I would have sex with occasionally for like 4 years, and I just like care about him, and we have really good chemistry, and I had been avoiding him since I had married my husband, because I was like, I had like cheated in the past, and I was like, I'm not going to cheat on this guy because he's perfect. He's an angel. And I'd been avoiding seeing this guy. And then I got assigned to write an article about him.
Stop it.
And he was like, oh, great. Like, can't wait to see you. It's been forever, and I was like, yeah. And then like the day got there, And I showed up and like I was so happy on my way there because I was super bloated on my period, having horrible cramps, and I was like, great, like I won't be horny. And as soon as I saw him, I was like so horny and like wanted to fuck him so badly. And I was like, Jesus. Like at some point during the interview, I just like was like, excuse me. And I like got up and just walked around, like just tried to like, you know, whatever. And I sat on that.
And he just sat there being like, yeah, I got that in Paraguay. What are you doing? Come back.
Yeah. No, he was laughing because we both knew like how thick the tension was like ridiculous, you know? And I told him like, yeah, no, we're not open or whatever. But so I sat with that experience for a few days, feeling awful, feeling really freaked out, not wanting to tell my husband, feeling guilty, whatever. And then I finally just told him everything. And he was like, that's okay. You know, like so understanding about it, like more concerned that I was so upset about it than about what had happened. It was like, well,
nothing happened even though. It's
right,
like nothing happened.
And he was like, well, what do you, I felt guilty though. I felt like something had happened.
You felt guilty that you even wanted it.
Yeah. And he was like, well, what do you need? You know? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, okay, well, when you know, let's talk about it. And I was like, immediately so relieved. Like just the fact that he was willing to like respect what was important to me or whatever I needed made me feel like less like claustrophobic, so much less, you know?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the way relationships should be. Even if he said like, look, you can't fuck this guy, but like, I'm not, you know, intimidated by that you are horny for him or whatever. At least like, you know, you can go to him. Or if you had said like, oh, I kind of would, it'd be nice if I could have that freedom to maybe, even if he says no, you should be able to bring these things up because some people are afraid to even ask.
Well, I think that there's two ways that you can get yourself into that situation. One of them is by being with someone you shouldn't be with, and the other one is just by never having talked about any of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe he's a good guy and he wouldn't react badly, but maybe they've just never broached the subject.
So the feeling of trapped that got removed because you know you can always go to him at the very least.
Yeah.
And maybe there's gonna maybe be some allowance. It didn't feel as like permanent. It probably felt less like a prison sentence.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome.
You know, he's like, I can't like do it over audio because it's a face. Like he's like, do whatever you want. Like, I want you to be happy.
Well, the face you're doing, he doesn't seem so enthusiastic about it, but
like,
willing.
Right. Like, he's like not enthusiastic. Like, he's not like, yeah, I would love if you go fuck someone else. But he's like, what's important to him is that I'm like happy and have what I need, you know? And like, I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt his feelings. But like, I don't know, like making out with girls at parties and flirting is like almost enough to satiate me. I'm only horny enough to really care like 5 days a month. So like pretty much like once I'm like, if I get into like a state, I'm like, well, we'll just wait a few days and then inevitably I'm like, okay.
Well, aside from the making out and flirting with girls at parties, because I think that I don't want to speak generally because I hate it, but I do feel like culturally it's a lower level of intimidation factor.
It's totally like fucked up because it's a double standard and it's like invalidating that like
Absolutely.
If I hook up with a girl, it's not like cheating or whatever because it's
right
because real.
I'm the dick in this thing, so it's okay.
Yeah. But I don't care because it's like feels fine for both of us and it makes me fucking happy. So
totally. So, but those aside, have you gone to him since that happened and said, hey, there's like a man or there's an experience or something and you had to talk it out?
Well, we had an experience that I won't get into that just kind of happened. Well, two. And they're beautiful. And it was like, you know, like jerk off material for like months after and like, you know, just beautiful memories. And like he was like there and he's like, okay. Yeah, cool. Like, cool, fine. This is fine, you know?
What was your introduction to group sex?
That was the one time.
Oh, that was the one time?
I'm not like some group sex person. Well, I don't know.
But
How many is a group?
That's a vibe.
Is 3 a group?
I don't... Oh, it's such a hotly debated topic. Okay. The amount of times I've been interviewed and someone asked me, like, what is that? Give us a definition. I personally say it's 5. Unless it's...
5?
I think group sex counts at like 4 or 5, depending on the makeup. I think 4 is a foursome, 3 is a threesome, and 5 is either like a train gangbang or an orgy. That's my feeling on it. But it's just funny you said that's your only group sex experience. You give off group sex vibes that is being okay with monogamy. It sounds like as soon as he's game, you're like, thank fucking God. Like, I want a snapshot of the day he says, I think I'm ready to start talking about like expanding the bounds of our relationship. I want to see a picture of your face in the moment. Light up, because that's how I would feel like you would react. I might be wrong.
I might. I don't think so, because I don't really want to date anyone else.
I didn't say date anyone else. It sounded like you're like, yeah, but the party, like, it sounds like you would love to take him to like a sex party and fuck him in front of people. I've never been
to a sex party.
Really?
Yeah.
Your vibe is you have a very,
I'm very
Bushwicky aura.
Sex. I'm very comfortable talking about it. Like, I politically think it's important to be open. There's reasons I talk about it so openly, like politically and just because of comfort or whatever. But I'm not like super experienced, haven't been super adventurous. I was definitely a giant slut. Like, I had a lot of sex, but I had a lot of like pretty conventional sex. Like, there's still so much more for me to explore, and like, I'm excited for it. But yeah, I'm pretty like weird about things still. I mean, I just bought my first vibrator. I was
Stop it.
No, this year, like a few months ago. Yeah.
Don't lie. Don't sit here across from me and lie.
No, it's true. Like,
how? With your parents?
I know, actually. So my mom.
I'm surprised mom didn't give it to you as an 18th birthday present.
No, literally. So when I was 18, the summer before I went to college, she took me to a sex shop to buy me my first vibrator to bring to college. And the person attending the shop thought we were partners. And I was like so embarrassed and horrified that I like ran out of the sex shop and just like wanted to like abandon the activity. Like, I was just like, I'll buy myself one. I'll do it, But yeah. And then I like was writing this chapter about sex toys and like writing about how I didn't really use them and were like, I have a hang up about them. And I asked someone I had slept with about it, and she was like, yeah, when I pulled my vibrator out, like, your reaction was so, like, you were so embarrassed by it, it alienated me. Like, it made me feel weird. Yeah.
Like, what do you think that hang-up's about?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I mean, I, like, found a giant vibrating dildo, when I was a kid, and like,
well, I think we found it.
I knew.
You're like, I don't know. I'm like,
well, it was at like my friend's house. It wasn't my mom's or anything, but like my mom was like laughing, and she told us what it was, and like I knew what they were, and I would actually like search for them in other people's houses. Yeah, because I wanted to like stare at them. Like I didn't touch them because I knew what they were, but I did want to like see them, and was kind of obsessed with them. So I don't know why that didn't translate into like not into like liking or being more interested in sex toys. And I masturbate plenty, but I just do it with my hands, and I don't have a problem. But it doesn't take long, and it's fine. And so I kind of just like never needed it, or like didn't seem like it was like missing from my life. And then like I kind of got curious about it, like, well, maybe I'm missing out. Like, maybe it's awesome, So
also, the technology has developed so much since your mom wanted to get you one. The womanizer didn't. The air thing technology that wasn't there back then. And the Hitachi hadn't made its way to the States at that point.
No. But yeah, I like put a condom on the back of my husband's hair clippers to like see what the vibration would feel like. The blade was off. There was no blade on it.
Okay.
The back.
Yeah, no, I got that.
And I did not stick it in my vagina. I just wanted to see.
You just used it as a vibe.
Yeah. And it was like kind of underwhelming, honestly. I was like, meh, like whatever. And then I like went out and bought this like double vibe clit sucker thing, like really expensive, highly reviewed, like good reviewed toy, and like don't get it. Like, just not at all. It does not do it. It's been sitting in my drawer since like I tried it like 3 times, like gave it the old college try. I was like, no. Like,
is it the suctiony thing?
The suctiony thing, could not figure out. Like, I just was like, this does not work. Like, I have no idea what this is supposed to do. Like, it doesn't work. It didn't like suck on it. I don't know. Maybe it was defective. And then the vibrate, like,
You're like, yeah, I don't think everyone needs to have sex toys. I was just so shocked that you specifically.
I know a lot of
right,
people
you know what I mean?
think that I must be like.
All of us, and I'm going to speak on behalf of everyone who perceives you in the world. We all think you sell sex toys out of the trunk of your car. Like we think you sleep on a bed that doubles as a sex toy chest. You know, it's
Not even.
That's wild. I don't think her or a friend will hear this, so hopefully I will get away with sharing this. But like, the woman I've been seeing a couple months also does not own sex or did not own sex toys. She said, I had one in college. I said, oh, what'd you have? She said, it was blue. And then I don't want to be one to like, I don't want to be a man trying to explain sex toys to a woman. Yeah. But I was like, I feel like this is the one place where maybe I can, I will try not to over-explain, but also can help. So I took her to Babeland as a date on like Friday.
That's so romantic.
Yeah. I was like, get? So I took her around. One, I said, I want you to be prepared. I want you to have $200 prepared. You don't have to spend the whole thing, but we'd like you to have access to $200. She's like, my savings account is dope. You're good. I was like, all right, fine. So I took her around to Babeland. I showed her all the different types of toys. I was like, oh, here's your vibrator dildo-y ones. Here's your standard dildo things. Stay away from the toxic stuff. Yeah. Here are wands. Nice. Here are the clit suckers, you know, the womanizer and the knockoffs, blah, blah, blah. And we kind of go around. She splurged on herself. Let me tell you, she got the womanizer. She didn't get the knockoff.
Splurged all over herself.
We're working on that. Yeah. She got a womanizer, which is like $200 right there. Oh no, she got the whatever it was, the normal version of it. She got a womanizer. She has a suction toy. She got one of those ones that's the dildo. It's like it's a dildo. It's a vibrating dildo with the little clit thing that clamps down,
like
right?
The rabbit thingy.
Yeah. So, but she got a nice cleaner looking one. Okay, and then she got a wand. She actually didn't go with the Hitachi. She went with a less extreme version.
This is not fact checked, but I heard the Hitachi technology is like no longer the original technology, and that's not good anymore.
The limitation I have is that the wireless is less powerful than the original, but the one that plugs in the wall, I mean, I've used it on my dick before. I broke my dick with a Hitachi once.
How?
I many years ago, I was laying in bed with Paige. Y'all remember her. I was laying in bed with my girlfriend. She would use her Hitachi, and then I was like, I would like to use it because you can use it on like the frenulum, right? And then so you could do like a strokeless orgasm with just vibration. So I go with that, and I thought I could take it. I think this proves that penises are weak and vulvas are strong. I put it under there. I ended up going to the max setting until and then at some point it started to kind of like burn, but I thought like, no, that's just like, I'm a little whatever. It's fine. It's, you know, and then like I came and it kind of hurt when I came.
Oh my God.
It was not chlamydia. It fucking broke the skin. I wasn't like actively bleeding, but like the skin was teared. The tissue was teared a bit, and I was out of commission for about a week. Because the Hitachi's fucking powerful. She went with a lesser version called Le Wand, and it's like a same thing, but it's not as intense. And I was like, it's a good starter. Never had one of these before. It's like if you've never drank alcohol, we don't need to give you the Bacardi 360 or whatever. Right. You know, let's give you a cute beer or something.
Right.
But yeah, so no, it took her. Which by the way, I think a sex toy shop is a great date. If you know at all what you're talking about, if you both know what you're talking about, go to a sex toy shop and like agree to buy one thing. It's fucking, it's a fun date.
That's awesome.
And then I had to convince her to keep carrying around the Babeland bag. She didn't want to be on the subway with the Babeland bag. Everyone's going to know I'm having you're in New York City.
You're an adult.
Yeah. And so with Pussypedia, it sounds like one of the things you learned from doing the book was like, oh, sex toys, they're out there. Maybe I should like try one at some point.
No, that was like a separate process. The sex toys, like, I wanted to have a chapter in the book because it's important for people to know about that stuff. Especially like how to clean it and what kinds of lubes you can use with what materials and what kind of condoms with what kind of lubes with what kind of sex toys with, you know, like all that. So I wanted to write about sex toys, but I didn't want to like be dishonest and not mention that, you know, it's like when I wrote the part about sustainable period products, I said like, I'm a horrible period person. Like I use giant pads. Like it's like the most polluting thing I could possibly use, but like I love them, you know? So I, again, like similarly didn't want to be like, yeah, like everyone should get sex toys. You know, I didn't want to be like dishonest. And I also thought it was a good chance to write about having a hang up that you can't shake. Like I also wrote about the hair clippers in the book, and I wrote like, look, like even the girl who's willing to tell the world that she tried masturbating with hair clippers can't get over this weird hang up that I can logically explain to myself is stupid, you know? And I think that like a lot of people with their hang ups, like it becomes like a
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, because you're like upset that you can't get over it, and then you're stressed and you're uncomfortable and you're ugh, and it just like winds you, you know, whatever. So
Well, I think it proves that no matter how sex positive or feminist or whatever you are, it's like there's certain things that like you just can't. They're just there. They're going to take extra work.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you not the thing.
Right.
It's okay. You're not out there railing against sex toys. You know you have your hang up. And that's it. And it's okay.
Right, exactly.
You know, there's no perfect slut in the world.
I don't know like why they still embarrass me. Like I don't know. Maybe it's like when I was sneaking around people's houses as a kid and like knew I was doing something really bad.
Yeah.
Like that was bad. That was like not cool.
Well, yeah, to go trouncing around. I wonder what if did you find anything kind of outlandish in a friend's parents' drawer, or just kind of standard stuff?
Pretty standard stuff. I remember finding some anal beads and being like, what?
I'd explain those to my date on Friday.
What do these do?
Before we go, I did get a fun image in my head. Well, when you were talking about finding them and just wanting to look at them, it's almost, but you had known they existed from like porn or whatever. I almost had I flashed to like the feeling you get when you see a celebrity in real life, because they've only been on like a screen or on a piece of paper, and now it's a real person, and you're not trying to go touch them. I mean, some people do. They shouldn't do that. But like you don't go to touch. You're just like, that's Chris Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, there's Chris Rock over there. So it's almost like you're like, that's a vibrator.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Cheryl.
Yeah.
That's a vibrator.
Exactly.
We saw those in the video.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't need to touch it. I feel like I've gotten everything I needed from this exchange just by looking at it. I
didn't want to touch it either.
Right. Well, you don't know if they wash. So something. Okay. I think the butt plug's gone, but it's just like sometimes someone comes over and I have like a random butt plug or something now, and it's washed. It's okay. I didn't. I have to like reassure a guest sometimes.
You're like, it's filthy. Don't touch that.
In this line of work, you know, your sex toys are both like your personal products and decoration.
Right,
so,
okay.
So Zoe, wow, thanks for making time. Thanks for chatting with. Thanks for sharing so much about your mom. I fucking hope I cross paths with them one day. They sound like the coolest. But the book Pussypedia, I think, is actually out now when this is going to be released. So people should go click the link in the show notes to get it. And where else can they find you and your work?
Man, I need to change my Instagram handle. At Youngzo Keziah, YOUNGZOKEZIAH.
All right. Well, folks, go follow her there to stay up to date on things. Grab Pussypedia if you need to learn more about. This isn't just like, it's not just like information on vulvas and vaginas and whatnot. It's like, it's also myth busting too. So that, like, even if you think you know the diagram, there's probably things you still don't
know. Because I just spent 4 years learning about pussies and researching pussies, and I did so much more research for this book, and I learned so much.
You wrote a PhD dissertation on vaginas.
Basically. And it's also a lot about how gender narratives have informed the way we do science. So it's that too, and it's about, you know, evaluating information and like why the information about pussies is in the state that it's in, which is dismal.
I don't care if anyone else does it or not. I will forever now refer to you as Dr. Zoe Mendelson.
Perfect.
Well, thanks again. Why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Bye. Thank you guys for listening.
Zoe Mendelson, Wow, what a delight. Get the book, Pussypedia. I got a link for you in the show notes. It'll send you to an independent bookstore where you can buy it a little bit more ethically than the Amazon. But hey, you can get it on Amazon too if, you got like a Bezos fetish. Your kink is not my kink, and I guess that's okay. But I would love to know what you thought about this week's podcast. You can always shout us out on social media when you do that, when you're sharing the podcast or a particular episode. Be sure to tag me and the guest. We love getting your feedback, and you can share your thoughts a little bit more fully and honestly, the good, bad, and the pleasurable in the champagne room in our episode discussion channel. Come introduce yourself today at manwhorepod.com/Discord. Maybe you want to speak to me more directly. Maybe you have comments, you got questions, you got criticisms. You can always shoot me an email with any and all of that to manwhorepod@gmail.com. We are coming up close on 400 episodes, and something I've never done is, unlike other podcasts, I've never joined a network that was going to make any of my episodes exclusive. I've never put episodes behind the paywall after a certain period of time, right? I keep this thing pretty free, pretty open, and that's only because of the support that I get from you, the listeners, on Patreon. My Patreon is the best way to support the podcast. There are other options. I got links in the show notes. But if you want to join the fan whore community, it really is a community. It's actually kind of beautiful what's been, coalescing around this podcast over the years. If you want to join us, if you want to receive a slew of great rewards, get access to over 200 bonus episodes, get access to the Peep Show, see behind the scenes bonus content, extra writings and musings I spout out from time to time, or you just want the satisfaction of knowing that you had a few dollars go Billy Presida's way as a thank you for nearly 400 episodes of a free podcast, you can do so. Become a member today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. This is actually really exciting. So she's been on the podcast before as a Patreon bonus episode, and we will be having her on the podcast later this year. But a dear friend of mine, porn star Sonia Harcourt, oh gosh, finally, we shot a scene together. Not only did I get to hang out with my friend and her husband and drink some whiskey, but I also got to get a blowjob for my friend that I then will sell for money on OnlyFans. And you can give me that money and watch me get a wonderful, nice, long, juicy blowjob from my dear friend Sonia Harcourt at onlyfans.com/callmebilly. Might even be some OnlyFans content getting shot at that birthday gangbang. So stay tuned for more of that. Get vaccinated because, hey, the cool sex parties, they're checking vaccinations at the door. You want to go to sex parties again, get your goddamn shot. I understand if you were skeptical. I understand if back in, March, April, May. Come on, it is August. And I still don't have autism, allegedly. So get your shot, and then we can all go back to staying slutty.